This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Hey dog lovers, welcome to Have Dog Will Travel. I'm Kristi Vaughn.
And I'm Josh Henry, and we are sitting down today with a couple of celebrities from the Atlanta acting scene, Catherine Dyer and Jason MacDonald. Guys, awesome to see you. Thanks for letting us come interview you today.
Thanks for having us. We're thrilled to be here.
We are. Yeah. We won't talk over each other, I swear.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's all good. So tell us a quick bit about what you guys do.
Well, we're both actors and have been for a long, long time. We're teachers. We are co-owners of a studio in Atlanta called Drama Inc., and we are big dog people, dog lovers and rescuers.
Awesome.
I agree with everything he said.
You concur?
I concur.
Awesome.
I approve this message.
I will say that from my experience and my opinion, and not to diminish any of the others, Drama Inc. is the premier acting studio in Atlanta. I think between the variety of classes you guys have, with the caliber of instructors and the different services like taping and everything else, I think it's the premier acting studio here in Atlanta.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thanks.
Sure.
Yeah, we set out to be a one-stop shop for actors of all levels, from the beginners to the veterans, and we get everybody in between too. And it's we are leading with passion and motivated by helping people and building community. So it's
we're not a we're going to make you a star type studio.
Right.
We're about the work and about helping people.
No ridiculous promises.
No.
Guarantees.
We'll get you an agent. None of that.
Yeah. Good. Well,
we don't have like stars and things in our on our flyers and posters. We don't have like little Hollywood signs or
movie posters from everyone who's ever booked from one of your classes.
Right. Yeah. Not our style.
No. Good. Well, okay. Tell us a bit about your pups.
We have two. We have Gracie, who is 12 years old. Jason, actually, and we've had her for 12 years. Jason went out to do the groceries, and he called me and he said, meet me out in front. And I said, okay. So I went out to front to help him in with the groceries, and it was a dog and no groceries.
Oh.
Well, it was a puppy. She was 6 months old when I found her on Memorial Drive in August of 2007, and she was this little 6-month-old puppy, and she was so close to the street, like she was 6 inches from the street.
She was 23 pounds.
Yeah, and now she's 51. And she's been awesome. We had another dog, Shane, when we got her. He was a rescue from Atlanta Dog Squad, and we had him for 10 years. He's passed over the Rainbow Bridge. And now we have Bo, who we've had for 2 years, and he's a rescue from Atlanta Lab Rescue.
He's a 100-pound chocolate lab pit bull, or American Staffordshire Terrier, bloodhound mix.
Wow.
He has pulled me down twice. On the leash, flat. Wow. I've gone down flat. And the bloodhound comes out, and that's when it's difficult to walk him, because he gets on a scent, and Jason can't even pull him off. With both hands, you're tugging at him. But he's the sweetest dog. He is a soulful, compassionate dog, if that exists.
He is sweet. He was in Douglas County Animal Shelter, and he was set to be euthanized on December 23rd of 2016. And Atlanta Lab Rescue went in on December 23rd and pulled him out. He'd been hit by a car. And his leg was all mangled. And they paid for surgery. He's got a plate with 11 screws in his left leg. He was heartworm positive. He had huge separation anxiety. And two people who travel a lot and out of town and working on acting jobs and teaching, we decided to take on this project, which was crazy. But he's really come around. He's an amazing dog, and he's so grateful. They know when they've been saved.
Oh, they do. Absolutely.
Yeah, I've met him a few times, and he's an incredibly sweet animal, and one of Stella's favorite boyfriends.
Yeah, they need to see each other more.
Yeah. It's always a party when they get together.
Now, did you two grow up with dogs?
No. My parents weren't animal people. There were 6 kids in our household, and we could have cats, but they had to be outdoor cats. I didn't know from dogs. A friend of mine had a dog who bit me. It was a German Shepherd, because I reached in to pet the dog face first. I didn't know how to deal with the dog, and it was just a warning. That was my only experience with a dog. It wasn't until it was when I met Jason in New York, and we lived together. and a friend of ours found a beautiful Shepherd Husky mix on the street. And Jason said, "Oh, we have to take him in." I'm like, "What does that mean? I don't understand." So that was my first experience with a dog, and I just fell madly in love with Jake.
Yeah, he was awesome. I had dogs when I was little, but they didn't really work out. We had some issues, and so my dad was finally like, "No, we're just going to have cats." So I had cats growing up, but I always loved dogs. And then when we were in New York, and my friend found this beautiful dog, Jake, and we took him, and it was hard in a one-bedroom New York City apartment. So we had him for 6 months, and then we took him up to my parents. They were living on a family farm at the time in Canada. I drove him up there, and he lived there and just loved it. He would just run.
He was a farm dog.
Yeah. And then when my parents moved back into the city, they moved into a townhouse, so they ended up giving him to people at another farm, and he lived out his days just with horses and kids, and it was awesome. Then
that was it until we moved here and got Shane.
Until 2006, we moved to Atlanta and changed our lives and left New York City, and we were like, well, now we're gonna have a house and let's get a dog, and boom, there came Shane. So that's our history.
Nice.
We have not been dogless since.
I just want to say I'm so glad to hear that even though you had a bad experience with a dog, that you were so open to rescuing a dog after that, because I know so many people are terrified because of one bad experience. It doesn't have to ruin your experience with every other dog you meet. And sometimes people allow that to happen. So
it could have been so much worse. I mean, it startled me, but I just didn't understand the creatures or how to deal with them. I was never taught.
Right.
So, especially looking back, it makes perfect sense that he would do that. Yeah. Prince was his name. I'll never forget.
It's great that you've overcome the hideous disfigurement of your face. You've lived with it for decades.
Thank you.
And you still love dogs.
He's totally kidding, because she's beautiful.
Thank you.
Also, even if you had been really roughly attacked, people need to know that there are bad apples, like dogs, like people. There's ones that aren't so great. There's, these outliers that, are unnecessarily aggressive because they have something wrong with them, but that's never breed specific or anything like that. It's just, that's kind of the way it is, and usually someone's taught them to be that way.
Exactly. That's the key, that someone has taught them to be that way.
And we knew that after Shane passed and we wanted to get another dog, we knew we wanted to get at least a pit mix or even a full pit, because we know that they get passed by and they have a bad rap, and it's so stupid. It's because it's all about the individual dog, and there are a lot of amazing dogs out there, and it's not about breed.
Absolutely. So obviously there's a lot of great things about dogs to love, but what is your favorite thing about dogs?
Their warm bellies.
Oh.
There's no better place in the world than putting your hand on a dog's little warm belly when they're lying down. That's so awesome. God, I've never said that to anyone.
Now the world gets to hear it.
And their ears. I love dogs' ears.
Their soulfulness, and Bo is very, very soulful. He's an old soul for sure. Gracie and Shane were not cuddlers. Gracie's not a cuddler at all. Bo, the 100-pound dog, gets up, cuddles. I mean, he'll put his head on Jason's chest and his arm over his over his shoulder, his arm over his chest, like a lover would.
Yeah.
And it's just absolutely darling. They're just soulful.
Nice warm embrace.
Yeah.
I remember seeing a picture in maybe the 80s of Deborah Winger with her German Shepherds, and she was like kissing one of them on the mouth, and I was like, wow, that's that's like,
it doesn't go that far.
It's right in there. But I mean,
there's no making out.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe not when you're around.
I mean, Bo will come up and just like lick your lips.
Well, Stella did.
Yeah,
Stella's a licker.
She is not shy, and she is quite whorish with her kisses.
Yes, especially after you've worked out, and she likes to.
Salt.
That's just the grossest feeling. Sorry, Stella, but it is.
But I think it's also with dogs. It's that they wake up every morning and they live their lives moment to moment.
Yeah,
it's so incredible. They don't know what's coming next. They don't have an iPhone. They're not planning shit out. They're just like, yeah, whatever you got going on, I'm there, and I love that. I love that idea of just living life moment to moment. that thing humans can't seem to do well.
No, it's impossible for us.
Living in the moment, you know?
Yeah.
Wait, isn't that what we're supposed to be doing as actors?
Living in the moment.
Living in the moment.
Yes, we should learn some lessons from
We
dogs.
should.
We need to incorporate dogs into some acting classes.
Wow.
About living in the moment.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. If you were a dog, what would you
Write
do?
that down. I like it.
What would a dog, as you go through your sides and your beats and you study and you do your script analysis, think, what would a dog do right here?
Very interesting.
I like it.
That's funny.
Fall
Yeah.
asleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eat it.
Lick itself.
Pee on it. Lick itself. Yeah.
Do you have any funny dog stories?
Oh.
We love funny stories.
We went to an
about dogs.
audition once
Oh, yeah.
with our dogs. It was Shane and Gracie, and it was for Milk Bones. And the callback, as a family unit, we got called back. And it was at a park. And it was a 45-minute drive, 30-minute drive. It was outside of Atlanta. So Shane was very protective. He was part white Swiss Shepherd, part yellow lab.
Mm-hmm.
So that Shepherd, he was on protective mode because there were it was an all back, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So we're there with the dogs, and it was our turn to go under the tent to, put us on camera. And there we were, the four of us. We had the leashes. And the director was a woman. She had a lot of frizzy hair, and she was wearing a big hat. So she got behind the camera, and she said, okay, wait a minute, let me fix this. And she came around and did quite what I did when Prince gave me the warning. She leaned straight into Shane without having gotten to know him first, offering her hand. Her hair came down.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
The hat came down towards him, and he didn't bite her, but he
bit the hat off her head.
saying, back off, lady.
And she said, is he always like that? And I said, yeah, when strangers come straight at him, yeah, that's how he is.
I don't know why a director who doesn't know how to handle dogs would
Be directing
take
a
on
Milk Bone
a
commercial.
Milk Bones commercial.
And I said to her,
We didn't get the job.
I said, do you want us to leave? And she's like, no, just take a few pictures.
And then we left.
And Gracie never forgave Shane. She was like, this was my shot at stardom.
Oh, no.
She was like, wait a minute, I don't get to be in the commercial?
Oh.
So, yeah, that was a hilarious and could have been scary story
Yeah.
if he'd bitten her somewhere else other than her hat.
Yeah. That'd be awkward, to say the least.
Dogs don't like big floppy hats normally.
No. Oh, I can walk into my own bedroom with a hoodie on or something, and Stella will lose her mind, and she's in there laying down or whatever, and I just walk in, and for some reason, it just really sets her off. She can't, or if I was wearing a wig for something, I don't know.
I don't want to know.
something.
I don't want to know.
For something.
Just a normal
And she's,
day.
Running to the other side of the living room, like cowering and barking, and like trying to figure out. Yeah, they just don't like that kind of stuff. Very confusing for them. So do you guys travel with your dogs? And if so, what's like the best trip you've ever taken with your dogs?
St. Simon's. Yeah. We rented a house a couple blocks from the beach one year for a week, and it had its own pool. And we took Shane and Gracie, and the four of us had the best time ever. And we're looking around St. Simon's and looking for the right spot and finding one that was dog friendly. And these people were awesome, beautiful home, and they were like, "Yeah, we love dogs. Bring them."
Shane wasn't a good traveler, though.
No.
No.
A lot of anxiety.
It was constant vocal,
But we found the one thing that calmed him on that 5-hour drive.
We did.
And that was a book on tape, and it was Tina Fey,
Bossypants.
And he just
Good to
sat
know.
down. We played it twice because he didn't whimper once during listening to that. He listened to Tina Fey's voice and just chilled the
We're going to
Wow.
tag Tina Fey in this.
You know what? You
This
should.
episode. We're going to tag
Seriously,
her.
it was
I
like-
think she needs to know that.
It was the most soothing thing for Shane. He was just like,
She does need to know that. And it's a great book.
yeah, it
So,
is.
it
Yeah.
was
There we
it did
go.
double duty. We got to hear it twice. And
great. And the
calm
dog was
Shane down.
calm. Perfect.
we've never flown with our dogs. I don't want to do that. I think I'd be a nervous wreck to
Yeah.
fly with, unless it was a little tiny thing
Right.
that I could have on my lap. But
If they're big dogs and you have to, I couldn't. I don't think I could put them in the cargo. I mean, maybe like a private jet.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely a private jet.
Definitely a private jet.
But no, I don't want to put them underneath.
me either.
and then Bo and
It's terrible.
Gracie, we went up to
Blue Ridge.
Bo and
That's
Gracie.
where we
We
went.
took Bo and Gracie up to Blue Ridge last year. to a cabin. It's a little water there and a deck, and they just chilled out. They loved it. It's great.
Bo was great in the car.
Bo's amazing in the car,
travel.
and Gracie's pretty good in the car. So yeah, but she's 12, so it's like we don't want to drive 5 hours anymore.
Sure, yeah. It gets harder.
Yeah.
And with either of those trips experiences, did you learn anything, any like nuggets of wisdom aside from Tina Fey's audiobook,
which is a great one?
Nuggets of wisdom to share about traveling with your dog?
I think, obviously bathroom breaks are important, and being able to read if your dog's newer to you, like if you know your dog and you know how they're in the car, then you can read their signals, but you have to make a lot of stops. It's good for the dogs.
I love the collapsible water bowls.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the fabric water bowls. Those are fantastic. So we always have those with us.
We have one in each of our cars.
Yeah.
Watching what you feed them before. Oh, and also and
the seat coverings.
We've experimented with seat coverings for sure. Finding plush ones or ones that are sturdier. And we realized Bo's had a couple of accidents. He's peed a couple of times in the car, so we had to get ones that have like a little bit of water resistance to them.
Mm-hmm. So the back seat, the
back seat cover,
the water resistant one.
Yeah, I think it's important. And we don't. Some people talk about tethering their dogs and seat belts. We don't do that. I mean, it might be something we should consider, but I think they just get so comfortable and they lie down and then they get up and stick their head out the window and then they lie down again. So I don't know how those things work. Have you used them?
Yeah, we do it with Stella all the time. And I'll say two things. One, when they're a younger dog, it's they're likelier to jump out of the car when the door opens or something like that. So it helps keep them from doing that. Also, if you are in an accident, ideally it might help keep them from flying through the car or whatever. But also, I think an important note is if you're going to do that, get one of the harnesses that hooks up in the back and it goes around the chest like we have on her. I don't think that's a good idea if you're tethered to their, to a normal collar or whatever, because if you stop suddenly, you're like,
Oof.
Yeah, exactly. So I totally support the tethering, but with the right setup.
Yeah. We also purchased a ramp because Bo, because of his injury to his leg, when we first got him, he was still not putting a lot of weight on it. And
his leg was
dangling,
hanging on a string.
Oh, little baby.
And Gracie's older, so now we have a ramp, and it's got anti-slip surface on it, and it's great. It folds in half, so we keep it in the back, and then just open the side door, and up they go. Boom, boom, boom. I love having the ramp.
Nice.
Plus,
do you know where you got that?
eBay.
Amazon.
Amazon.
Yeah, I ordered it on Amazon.
Dog car ramp.
Yeah,
whatever.
dog car ramp. It's brown and red, and it's been
Dog car
great.
ramp.
Because lifting a 100-pound dog in a car, and I have done it. I have, lifted him a few times.
I've only lifted 50 pounds because he'll put his
half
paws his half up, so I'll lift the other half, the back half.
Well, that'd be great to know too, like people with small dogs, because we have two Frenchies, and Sadie's getting a little older, so that kind of thing is helpful to know.
Very, very, very
I have
useful.
a fat Frenchie that is just so difficult to pick up because he's like a big bowling ball, like a 30-pound bowling ball. Do you have any local favorite spots to take your dogs?
We go to the dog park in Decatur on East Lake Drive.
We also, the restaurant Poor Hendricks, which is in Eastlake, it's in our neighborhood. They have a back patio, and Bo loves it there. And
Greater Good Barbecue in Eastlake. They have a dog-friendly patio. Are they still dog-friendly? Or is it because...
They're officially dog-unfriendly, but unofficially dog-friendly.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
Ignore the signs, in other words.
Gotcha.
You can tell them.
We're also
you can tell
family,
them
so maybe we get a special dispensation. But
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, we stick close to home, and we bring Bo to our studio, to Drama Inc.
So Drama Inc. is a dog-friendly.
Dog-friendly, absolutely. Bring your
Yes.
dog. I mean, we've got one lying on the floor right here.
Yeah, Stella is passed out.
she's wearing a T-shirt. She's wearing a tank top, I think.
Honestly, as a former business owner, I used to own a restaurant called Stone Soup Kitchen in Grant Park, and I just think it's ridiculous that there are rules against dogs being on restaurant patios, because if it's up to the owner. If the dog's well behaved and can chill, then I love having them there. And I wish we were more like Europe, where you could take your dogs everywhere. You know, you walk into a cafe in France and there's just a dog lying on the floor.
Yep.
You step over them to get to your table.
We were,
Oh,
at,
yeah.
we were at a restaurant in Paris, and they had a dog named Quebec. He was a giant German Shepherd, and the waiters had to step over him to get to the tables.
Aw.
When he was,
I love
he was just
that.
lying across. He was
Aisle,
like,
yeah.
"It's awesome. It's a dog's world. We just live in it."
My parents were in Paris, and my mom was sending me every single French bulldog she saw, and they were all sitting in cafes like they were humans sitting at the table.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the cutest thing, and I thought, this is my kind of place.
Yeah, yeah.
I was in LA a few weeks ago, and there was I was sitting outside at a cafe, and there was an elderly gentleman sitting table, across from me, and it looked like he'd been there. He probably went there every morning. He was having his breakfast. And the same thing, sitting in his chair, was a probably 25, 30-pound dog, just sitting there like a human being. He'd give him a little bacon.
Oh, I love
give him
it.
some eggs, like it was their routine.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Well, that segues nicely into my next question. If you could travel anywhere in the world with your dog, where would you go and why?
Does it involve a plane?
Yeah,
Well,
if that didn't matter. If you could go
You
anywhere
could charter a jet.
and it was easy, yeah, you could take them very comfortably.
Yeah, don't worry about the traveling there.
The
Just
logistics
the
don't matter.
destination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Oh my God.
gosh, I would really like to see Bo up in where I grew up in Ontario, Canada, and some of those lakes and just that beautiful forest that my grandparents had 100 acres of basically just woodland, and he would love it. The smells would make him crazy in there. It would be awesome to see. But also, we'd love to go to the beach. We've never gone to the beach with Bo, so it's so interesting when we took Gracie and Shane to see how they reacted to the waves and to the jellyfish and the crabs and all that stuff. So, beach or northern Canada wilderness, yeah,
I think those are both
or
doable.
boat, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you'd probably have to figure out the plane thing for
Yeah.
Northern Canada.
Yeah,
Maybe not.
I mean, no,
Thir-
just-
We can.
13
It'd
hour,
be a few days drive.
13-hour drive to my parents, and then another 6 hours from there. Yeah.
it's funny. I was driving up to Blue Ridge recently, just because you just mentioned it, and I realized I feel like a good rule of thumb, and maybe I have a different opinion, but anytime you need to be aware when you're traveling with your dog, like that, anytime you need to pee, they probably need to also.
That's
So
good.
just set that as a reminder to yourself. Like if you're going to do it, they need to do it.
That's great.
That's a really good idea. Yeah.
When we had Jake, the first dog in New York City, when we decided to take him to my parents' farm, I drove him from New York City to Canada, and I think it was about 11 hours. And I actually gave him a little beer because it calmed him down. And we drove.
You got to the border.
Well, hold on. Pennsylvania's a really long state if you're driving east to west. Got through Pennsylvania, got to Ohio, and then it started snowing, and we got to Toledo, Ohio, and I let him out at a rest stop, and he just raced around in the snow. We've been in the car for like 8 hours, and he just crazy snow run. So anyway, then we get to the border. It's really late at night, then it's starting to get really snowy, and I pull up, and the Canadian customs woman says, citizenship, and I said, I'm dual Canadian American. She said, what about him? I said, he's American, but he's immigrating to Canada. And I had his, I had to have his vet records and all that stuff. And she said, she looked at his vet records and all that stuff, and she looked at Jake and said, welcome to Canada.
Oh.
And that was his home. That's where he lived the rest of his life. That was cool.
Is Canada generally pretty dog friendly? In your opinion?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up with lots of friends having dogs and dogs being everywhere. And on my grandfather's farm, he always had collies. He loved collie dogs. And they were always just in the run of the farm. They were never tied up. They just, they had all this acreage to run around on. It was awesome.
Nice.
Canadians are more progressive on certain things like marijuana use. And,
Yeah.
they're a little more progressive on some stuff.
So we've talked a bit about Drama Inc. and what you guys do here. We also want to talk about an event that you guys are hosting that's coming up soon. But you also mentioned that Drama Inc. is dog friendly. So why do you feel it's important for people to be able to take their dogs with them when they come here? I mean, I'm sure they don't do it often because it's acting classes, whatever, be kind of awkward. It's not like a very bring your dog and hang out kind of place necessarily. But, if someone needed to and they wanted to, why do you think it's important that they be allowed or to any place?
I think it calms people. unless someone is truly scared of dogs, and that can be the case frequently. So when we do bring Bo, I do want to make sure he's on a leash, because not everyone loves dogs like we do. But I think I love dogs in the workplace. I think I immediately like if I go in, if it's for an audition, for example, if they have their dogs running around, I know I'm going to like these people, because the dogs, I think they calm everybody, and they're great icebreakers in terms of auditioning and what we do, which is so nerve-wracking. I immediately go for the dog. It's the first thing. I go right down on the floor and go to the dog. It's like, oh yeah, hi.
Calm me right down.
Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice if at high-pressure callbacks they had like therapy dogs that you could pet before you go in the room?
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
That is a good idea.
Another thing I've never divulged is that
Oh my God, Jason, wait a minute.
one of the many times I've tried to quit acting, this was probably 2001, 2002. We were still living in New York, and I was interviewing for corporate jobs, and I interviewed in the marketing department at the ASPCA at their national headquarters in New York City. And I went in for my first interview, and they foster dogs in the office. So every person at a desk had a dog next to them. And I'm in my nicest suit, which was a pretty nice suit. And I got down on all fours as soon as I got in their office, and I started just loving on these dogs. And then the woman who was interviewing me came out, and she's like, "Oh, you'll fit right in." And it's interesting because I didn't have a marketing degree, and it ended up being between me and someone else, and they went with the other person. I was so disappointed. I was like, "I'm changing my life. I'm going," and it would have been a great place to work, but I'm glad that we get to be around dogs. But it would have been really cool environment. I just love that they had animals all over their office. It's really cool.
I heard a good word for people the other day that don't like dogs. I think it's sociopath. We were joking the other day because we take our dogs for walks all the time, and it's fun watching people's reaction. If they smile, and some, oh my God, can I pet him and all that, and some just have this sort of fear and disdain look. I'm like, oh, you're probably a sociopath if you don't like dogs.
Listen, I mean, every serial killer on record was known to abuse animals as a child, right?
There you go.
So it's really, I don't understand it. I have no comprehension of how anyone could be cruel to any animal. So.
As Doris Day said, who just recently passed, who was amazing, an amazing actor. I've never met a dog I don't like. People, on the other hand.
Absolutely.
Something along those lines.
Now, you mentioned a couple of rescues earlier on, rescue groups. Do you have a favorite now?
We love Lifeline. We take donations at Christmas. We have our students or anyone who comes into Drama Inc. bring something. That whole area, including out in here, is filled with dog food, cat food, blankets, anything you could possibly imagine. People who hadn't taken classes here in a year. I know you're doing your donation, so they'll just stop by. It's wonderful. It's we try to get a picture of everyone who donates and put it up online.
2018, we received over $1,000 worth of donations in food and toys and shoes and blankets and things that Lifeline needs.
People are so generous.
We've also done for Lifeline. We've done a few videos for them. We've featured a couple of their adoptable dogs. We do that periodically, and
we have something at Drama Inc. called Drama Inc. Gives Back, and it's a giving back to the community. It's a once a month. We do volunteer work, and what we've just started doing with Lifeline is once a month they will bring in a dog. So far, it hasn't been a cat yet, into our taping room. So one of our tapers and students here, she tapes. We talk about the dog. It's filmed, and then she edits this really cute little video.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's great. She does all the graphics.
Allison Mayer, she works for us, and she put it together. It was her idea, and it's really been great.
And where do we find these videos? Are they on Lifeline's website?
No, we put them on the Drama Inc. website. Yeah, there's another one coming soon, actually.
The first one got adopted, and the dog, Big Valley, was the dog's name. Yep. And he had been with them for well over a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well over a year.
That's amazing.
I love that.
I know.
Our other big rescue is Atlanta Lab Rescue, the people who saved Bo's life. We've done fundraising for them, and we are also the hosts of their annual fundraising event called Bourbon, Barbecue, and Best of Breed.
Nice. That sounds fun.
Tell us more.
It is fun. It's June 22nd this year. It's at the Donaldson Bannister Farm in Dunwoody, which is just gorgeous. It's like being in a country farm in the 1900s. They have Bone Lick Barbecue donates food, amazing food. Bird Dog Whiskey donates whiskey. There's bourbon tastings. So those are two of the big sponsors. And then there's
huge silent auction.
Huge silent auction with some of the coolest stuff. From everything from box seats to the Falcons, from
to artwork.
And
massages.
All kinds of stuff. And we're the hosts. We were the hosts last year at the first one, and we're the hosts again this year. And there's going to be craft beer tasting this year as well. So it goes from 7 to 10 p.m., June 22nd, and tickets are at atlantalabrescue.com, and there are also VIP packages as well. It's really just an amazing event, and they have lab trials, puppy trials. The guy he's a dog trainer, and he brings his dogs and puts them through field trials, and it's really cool to see them. It's amazing. Yeah, and he has the adult dogs, and then he brings one of the puppies he's working with out, and just everyone just oohs and ahs, and it's incredible.
It's very happy making.
Yes.
So what is your job as the host? What will we see you doing there?
Walking around looking good. Wearing this.
Nice.
This came in the mail today.
I love it.
I love that.
We promote the event, and at the event we do the announcements. And last year Zach Seabaugh played. He was one of the runners up on the Voice, and we introduced him, and we're
ambassadors.
Ambassadors
Sure.
and MCs of the event. So yeah, we'll be there drinking bourbon.
And if I go buy a ticket, what does that include? Is that only admission? Does that include some bourbon? Does that include what?
You get in the door, you get bourbon, you get beer, you get Bone Lick Barbecue food. Get there early and get in line, because people were piling their plates last year. It was so good.
Sure.
And then you get into the silent auction. You get the free trials. There's cornhole game going on, lawn bowling. It's just a really fun, laid back, kind of southern feeling event for sure.
It does feel southern charm.
And you can't bring your dogs, because that would be cuckoo.
They have dogs there.
But they have dogs. They have adoptable dogs there. Their volunteers walk around with dogs that are up for adoption, which is just so awesome.
So people only, but benefits dogs.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm down with that.
It's just if everyone brought their dogs, it would be madness. So,
Yeah, I'm sure. And you run into a lot of, as much as we all want to just bring our dogs to everything and let them roam and all that, you do run into issues. There's, not every dog owner's a good one. And so some aren't well trained, or some might not have had their shots, or, who knows. So it's unfortunate, but you get it.
So June 22nd, 7 to 10 p.m., atlantalabrescue.com. We'll be there. Come join us, drink some bourbon, drink some beer, eat some food. And
Stella says, yeah.
Stella says, yeah, do it.
Go get tickets.
Well, awesome. That's great, you guys. I think we will definitely be at that.
Yeah,
So,
sounds like our kind of event.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time. I know you're incredibly busy people with all that you're doing around here, between Drama Inc. and your own acting careers and everything else you got going on, and producing award-winning films and so much stuff. So thank you again for your time. It was great chatting with you guys. And I guess that's it. So remember, if you want to bring Fido on a trip, but you're worried it could all unravel,
Just listen to us. Have Dog Will Travel.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.